Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call the Highway and Building Committee meeting for Wednesday, June 21st to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. McConnell.
Present.
Mr. Hildebrand. Mr. Tripp.
Present.
Mr. Legess.
Present.
Mr. Stauffenberg.
Present.
Mr. Vickery.
Present.
Mr. Olthoff.
Present.
Ms. Polk.
Present.
Mr. Mulcahy.
Present.
Mr. Einfeld. Ms. Weber. Ms. Evans. Ms. Peters. Ms. Parker. Mr. Ritter. Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Lear. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Any public comments at this time? I did not receive any. No public comments. Okay, approval of the minutes for June 15th, July 13th, August 10th, September 10th, October 12th. And by the way, we're all caught up now, so she did a great, awesome job of getting all this done with her intern. So I need a motion to combine those and approve. Mr. Olthoff, Mrs. Polk. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the minutes for Highway and Building for May 17th, 2017. Need a motion to approve. Mr. Tripp, Mr. Vickery. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Mr. Rogers.
Good morning. We have no bids and lettings this morning, but I do have the engineer's pay estimates. First one is for our county general maintenance for 2017, supplement 3, payable to Grasso Construction. This is for oil and shipping that's been done on some of the county highways, and that amount is $74,231.33. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2017, payable to Kankakee Valley Construction Company. This is for hot mix picked up at their plant with our trucks, and that amount is $2,611.05. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2017, payable to Prairie Material Sales. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry. That amount is $318.03. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2017, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for road mix and chips picked up at the quarry with our trucks, and that amount is $1,401.42. Next is Aroma Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, supplement 1. This is a final pay estimate to Gallagher Asphalt Corporation. This is for an overlay that was done in the township, and that amount is $26,180.60. Next is Limestone Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work that was done in the township, and that amount is $67,154.75. Next is Norton Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, supplement 1, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in Norton Township, and that amount is $61,076.38. Next is Pilot Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work that was done in Pilot Township, and that amount is $97,881.12. Next is Salina Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, supplement 1, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $47,238.53. Next is Pembroke Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, payable to Prairie Material Sales for road mix picked up at the quarry. That amount is $5,289.00. Next is Norton Road District for their 2017 general maintenance. This is a final pay estimate to Toby's Construction and Cartage. This is for aggregate base repair, pulverization, and stockpiling of aggregate chips, and that amount is $16,075.48. Next is Otto Township Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, supplement 1, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with their trucks. That amount is $1,461.13. Next is Salina Road District for their 2017 general maintenance, payable to Vulcan Materials for road mix picked up at the quarry. That amount is $19,950.00. Next is Kankakee County, Section 13-00300-00BR non-MFT. This is payable to Toby's Construction and Cartage. This is for the bridge on 7,000 North, just south of Grant Park. That amount is $405,870.21. And last is for Kankakee County, Section 13-00112-02-BR non-MFT. This is a final payment to Toby's Construction and Cartage. This is for the box culvert just south of Minimaness. This is a final payment, and that amount is $28,408.51.
Okay, we need a motion to approve in a second. Peters and then Bill Otoff. Any questions? Any questions? A lot there. Any questions? Need a roll call, please?
Mr. McConnell. Mr. Tripp. Mr. Legess. Mr. Stauffenberg. Mr. Vickery. Mr. Olchoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy. Ms. Weber. Ms. Evans. Ms. Peters. Mr. Whaler. Motion carries.
Who's got a question?
Mr. Vickery.
Mr. Rickert?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that road at 7,000, that bridge, is that done?
The contractor still has to put in the guardrail and the bridge rail, so they're scheduled to be in there tomorrow. And then tentatively, we hope to have it open by the end of the week. There is, we have an issue, a small issue with some of the payment, but it shouldn't delay the opening of the road.
Okay. Is it blacktop? Is that it?
Yes.
Or- Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Stauffenberg?
Thank you, Chairman. Mark, I noticed that Prairie's per ton is $6.35 and Vulcan's $7.50. What makes you go one place or the other?
We calculate how we do a mileage charge, so much per ton per mile,
So if it's
and we have a
closer to
cutoff. So, you know, if it's cheaper to get it from Prairie than it
Okay.
is from
I
Vulcan,
figured
then
as
we
much.
do that. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, good, Mark.
All right. Next, I have a resolution. This is for declaring highway equipment surplus property. The first item up there is a 1995 Navistar single axle boom truck. This was our sign truck that we purchased in 1995. We have since gotten a new sign truck that we are actually going to be replacing here when the new one comes in here later. But this one has 382,000 miles on it. But we actually use it to do tree trimming and things like that along the public highway so that we can still use our sign truck to be out on the road patrolling and fixing signs.
Excuse me. Mr. Otoff?
Thank you, Chairman. Will we be using the same boom or a new boom?
New boom. Yeah. So it's
sold
as is.
It's
Yeah.
sold as
As is, yes.
You interested?
new.
All right. The next item is a 2003 Navistar single axle dump truck. It has 126,630 miles on it. And then the next item is it's a snowplow. It's a 2003 Lawton reversible snowplow. And the next item is the salt spreader, which is a 2003 Lawton salt spreader. And the next item is a 2007 pickup cap. We ended up getting those new engineering vehicles with those new aluminum toolboxes on the back, so we no longer need the caps. So that's one there. The only other things we have are some miscellaneous pallets of parts. This is for obsolete parts from equipment that we don't have anymore. So we'll have some parts that we're going to get rid of, and then some miscellaneous broken inoperative tools. We've got some broken shovels, broken lutes, and inoperative, heat guns, things like that we need to declare surplus before we dispose of them. Planning to have a sale in August.
Any questions? Mr. Lear first, and then Mr. Tripp.
Thank you. You're mentioning a refrigerator?
Yeah, there is an old refrigerator that was in the office. It was an old Hot Point. It looks like it's from maybe the 60s, but it still worked, but it just...
I don't know if it's possible for a local government to use the Commonwealth Edison a $50 deal. Is there any way to check that?
Sure, I'll check it out.
Mr. Tripp?
Just silly question probably, but that salt spreader, what can go wrong with it that you would update it?
It's just we purchased the new truck and we get a new salt spreader with it.
Oh, okay, okay,
Comes with it?
gotcha.
Oh, okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we need a motion to approve. Mr. Stauffenberg and a second by Mr. Vickery. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. No. it's just-
Spending.
We're selling. Would you like to buy it? Oh, we can. Okay. Okay. Next item.
I just wanted to make everybody aware of the state funding without a state budget. I received a letter from the Department of Transportation. I think Chairman Wheeler received a similar letter. The contractors are receiving a similar letter regarding the shutdown. The letter basically, I've included in your packet, basically says that any state-let projects, which we do have one, which is the overlay of County Highway 58, which is 2000 west from 115 south into Chabans. That project was let in Springfield. The feds pay 80%, so that money is expended by the state of Illinois. We pay 20%. Currently, the project isn't started. KVCC got the job, and they are waiting for the right of entry to do the work around the railroad tracks. So currently, they have not started the work. They could technically start, but the state had a cutoff to submit any pay estimates for them to get paid as of June 14th. They can still do the work through June 30th, but as of June 30th, they'd have to shut down. And then they would not get paid for any work before June 30th, from June 14th to June 30th, until after this budget thing is settled. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention that this is where we're at with this. It does not affect our MFT current projects because we always program those with money through June. So everything that we've let here at this committee, all the money is already here. So we don't have to shut anything down ourselves here in the county. Until there's a budget, we will not be receiving our MFT if they can't come up with a budget by June the 30th. That did happen 2 years ago. We did not get our MFT from July until it started coming in December. They still collect the money, but they just don't give it to us.
Mr. Olthoff.
Nuts.
Thank you, Chairman. Would a company hold off, even though they've gotten a bid, hold off doing the work until they have some kind of guarantee they get paid?
Would be a decision by the contractor. I don't know how that
We
would
haven't
work.
had that happen before.
No.
Any other questions? Mr. Vickery.
Thank you. I assume that 6,000 project will be shut down then.
I'm assuming so, since it is state let. Yes, I'm assuming that will be shut down if there's no budget by June 30th.
Ms. Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That includes the Route 50 and the 45,
Yes.
so, okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Rogers? Anything at all? Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Gadbois.
I'm serious.
Morning.
Morning. Morning. Good, good.
That's what he said. It's not good.
It's been a long couple of weeks, I gotta tell you. We'll start off with facility dude. I have 139 work orders for the month of May in the system. That's not even close. We haven't had anybody to enter work orders. We're just kind of winging it as we go along here. So there's way more than that in the system, but at any rate. Financial report, $17,812 for the month of May. I've had some issues down at the old jail I'll talk about shortly here. Quite honestly, I am unprepared today. I'm going to tell you this. I've been so busy taking care of some things here. I haven't really had a chance to look through this finance report. I prepared all this late yesterday afternoon and came in this morning and already started off with things breaking. So I have to tell you, I'm unprepared for this meeting. Thank you. So if you have any questions on the finance, I'll keep this. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I just haven't had a chance to
We'll
look
catch
it
up
over.
next month with any.
There
details
we
that
go.
are pertinent.
I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
I'll go right to the building report. We'll start off with a lightning strike on June 13th on the top of the courthouse. It took out a couple of servers that take care of the internet between here and there. Trent Bukowski's working with them. I had the roofing company, Langlois Roofing, went over, did an estimate on the roof yesterday. I'm waiting on that assessment plus pictures. We are in touch with the insurance company on this. There is damage to the roof, and I'll know more here shortly. He's supposed to be sending all that to me this morning. I am working with the assessor. He's coming here as soon as I get done. Phone call. We're going over there to take a look at what we have. On Sunday morning, 6:18, we were hit by lightning on the tower. It took out the microwave system for 911 CanCom. Several things through. Jerome Combs was hit as well. Took out the public safety cameras. It took out the phone system out there, took out the swipe card system. We're still assessing these damages as we move forward. That's a different insurance company. The Jerome Combs Detention Center is insured through Chubb Insurance because of the Kankakee Building Commission. I haven't been in touch with them yet. I'll be calling them this morning as well. So we're working with the insurance company right now, trying to get this mess straightened out. We still haven't even got all the assessments done until we get some other equipment brought back up through this process. Then we'll be able to determine what's actually broken, what isn't, because the entire systems are down. And Trent will be able to answer his questions, and Tammy Peterson as well. They're all separate, if you will, because I don't know a whole lot about what they have. You know what I'm saying? So collectively, we're working together, and we'll get this squared away. So we'll start here at 189. I lost a number 8 air handling unit out here. The air conditioner, both condensing fans were out of them for some reason. We had those things repaired. Same way I lost unit 1 yesterday afternoon. They're out there right now working on it as we speak. This coming Saturday, they're shutting the phone system down in this building, changing out the cards to bring this thing back up to the updates that are current. So this Saturday, it'll go down. We've sent out emails. Everybody in the building's aware. Your phones, all the phones are going to get cleared off. So they have to be re-voicemailed, all that has to get reset up on Monday. Rudy will be back and get this brought up to speed. So that's what's going on here this weekend. Courthouse, I've had a few small repairs. Like I say, on June 13th, we hit by lightning. When I got there, the fire department was there. The fire alarm was going off when I got called. It was at 5 p.m. When I got there, the fire alarm system had reset itself, and there was a leak running down onto the top of the dome on the interior. Now, I went up into the dome, took a look. I seen water dripping, but I couldn't make a determination where it was from. I wasn't going to go up on top of that dome that night. So we do have damage on the interior dome, and according to this guy yesterday with Langlois, there is a hole in the roof on top of the dome. I'll know more about that shortly. Again, there's some water damage. Electronic equipment was damaged, and we are working with the insurance company. At the old jail on Sunday, I got called at 10:30 by Aqua. Water was shooting out of Indiana Avenue about 2 feet high. There was a water main break going into the jail right in the middle of Indiana Avenue. So I went in. They actually wanted to turn the water off. I told them absolutely you can't. We have 130 inmates in there. So we went in, and I went to the 3rd floor, and we what they call jacked the water down to a point where I could still flush on the 3rd floor with the inmates who were there and keep the lost water to a minimum as best we could until Monday. I got a hold of R&R Construction. They came right out. He made the phone calls. Julie was called. We did our locates. And on Monday morning at 7, R&R was there digging up the road. At 2:30, we had to order I had to order porta-johns for that building, for that facility. We did. And by 2:30, they had the water back on. Took about 2.5, 3 hours to refill the building. We got everything put back in order. So that's another insurance claim. I'm working with the insurance company. He'll be here today. Again, we'll go over all that.
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. And Mr. Stauffenberg, you might be able to answer this, and you might have some experience. I'm trying to get my mind around why this is an insurance claim. It's in the middle of the road. That's
My understanding from Aqua is from the shut off in the middle of the street in belongs to the county. I'm going to chase this down some more, but in all past experiences from meter out, I don't know. The break was in the middle of the road. It was, I mean, if it was on our side of the sidewalk, I would get it, but I guess I don't. We're going to call Melissa over there and we'll work through this.
well, at this point, it's a $10,000 question. 'Cause that's the deductible on that situation.
$10,000, and this isn't going to be a cheap fix. I mean, they were graders, but and we still have to patch the road. That asphalt has to be replaced.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Gadwell. I don't believe this is our claim. It's always been from the meter out has been the responsibility of this, whoever the city or sidewalk or whatever. From the meter in is the occupant. It's always been from the meter out is the contract. Mr. Tripp.
I don't think that's true in villages. It's from the main in, from the shut off, from the main shut off on in. And that's the homeowner's responsibility, but I'm thinking probably the insurance company might be our advocate on this and help us with it. I don't know.
We're gonna check it out for sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Olthoff.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, when you have a home and you're on a well and they bring a water main in, I think it is from the water main to your house is yours, right?
Yes, I believe you're right.
So, because I know, but you're paying for the hookup to the water main, not from your meter.
Mr. Toffman.
Thank you, Chairman. Brian, have you submitted a claim?
No, we're working on that today.
Well, if you submit a claim, they'll figure it out for you, believe me, because they won't pay anything if they don't think they're gonna have to. But if they do, they'll figure it out for you, so don't worry,
Irregardless, the first 10,000 of this is ours.
Right,
So,
so
I
it's
mean,
gonna come out of somewhere.
right. So we are working with him today. I'll be with the assessor the adjuster today's coming here. I just have to call him. He's going to come right here. He's in Bourbonnais, so he's going to come here.
Mr. Vickery.
Just so I can visualize this, how far from the jail building was that break? I mean, you said in the middle of
60 feet. From the west side of the building to the middle, it's just past the middle of the road to the west.
Where is the meter?
The meter's in the basement of the building. That main comes right from the valve, and I mean, it's dead straight away into that building to the basement, to the boiler room of the old jail.
And Aqua says that's our responsibility.
Yes, sir. R&R said the same thing to me. He said, this is yours. So, I mean, they were all in full agreement. So, like you say.
Ms. Evans.
So the city has no responsibility because it's a city street.
It's a state highway.
Indiana is?
Yeah.
Oh, because that's Schuyler 4552.
So that's special permits we had to pull as well. The R&R takes care of all that. They took care of all that. So
You said Indiana. Is it Indiana or Harrison?
Indiana Avenue coming
That's a
down the
state
hill
street?
past state highway. All right. We took a hit on that tower. It took out all of the microwave system. I'm not familiar with what that means. So Tammy has been working with them on this. The tower crew is there as we speak. They were climbing today to pull the bad equipment down. At the same time, the beacon light on top of the tower also was taken out. That has to get lit. That's a pretty reasonable fine from the FAA if that's not done. So Tammy had spoke with them, and they're going to go ahead and fix that while they're there, so we don't have to call in P&D to get that done. So we're trying to make this all happen at the same time.
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The tower itself, the tower, just that part of it, that's ours. That's the county's. That's my understanding. But what about the microwave equipment that's on it? Is that 911?
That's 911.
So they take care of that part, but that's a separate claim for us on the tower, on the beacon.
Well, I would say we could probably cover all that under one claim. I'm sure they're going to cover that under one claim as a one-hit lightning strike. Everything that was on the tower will be included in the claim, I'm sure. It was about $1,100 because I had that done a year ago. The light went out a year ago. P&D charged $1,100 to go up there and fix that light. So, I mean, as bad as things are, somebody said something about 70,000. Somebody said 70,000 for the microwave equipment. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what somebody said to me yesterday.
Okay.
So hopefully we're going to be able to pull all this into one claim and get the tower fixed and everything that's associated with it.
Mr. Trent,
I'm sure we do, but I'm just asking a question. Do we have a proper lightning arresters up on top? Now, Olivet had problem too to start with, and we got hit, but now it gets hit regular and it's okay. I mean, they had to re-drill, I think about a 90-foot 3-inch pipe for a grounding rod. If it's not big enough, maybe we need to look at that. Just a comment.
could be. I just would assume that it was on there, but I don't know that either. Good question.
I'll find out about that. I'll go over there this morning. All right, we took a hit that same night on the public safety building. We lost, as far as we know, there are 11 cameras out. All the phone system was out. The internet was taken out, and all the swipe cards on the outside doors were taken out. On Monday morning, Reuter went there. They were able to repair the swipes and the phones. We had a couple of backup boards that Trent Bukowski keeps in stock. We were able to get the phones from booking and master control operational for the night through Sunday into Monday. When Reuter got there, we got our phone system completely back up and running. There are cameras that are out. We were waiting for we're waiting for today for a board to come in. A special board had to be inserted in order to make an assessment on the cameras. We're working on all that, and we'll work with the insurance company as we move forward. I met with Kona Elevator over at the old jail. I went ahead and had them see what it was going to do to replace that whole unit at the jail. It was $24,000. What I did was I went back at the $28,000 to replace all the batteries in those systems we needed to do at Jerome Combs. I was able to get that reduced to about 16 grand. Those batteries are en route as we speak, should be there today. They're going to come in and change it. So with the additional money that we saved from that, we looked at that elevator at the old jail and thought it would be a better idea to, instead of just replace the valve, go ahead and replace the whole unit. And we'll have that done, and we won't have to worry about it. So I told them to go ahead and figure on getting this done. They're ordering equipment. It's about a month out. They'll go ahead and get that going. At the same time, I have the kitchen grouting being completed. They cleaned all those floors yesterday and are drying it all out. They're going to install the grout this week. I'll be in and out of there by Friday, and we'll get that kitchen back up and running. I've set up a meeting with Johnson Control. I told them that their prices were too high. I'd like to get them lowered. They're looking at ways to do it. They're going to meet with us and see if the county can't provide some of the things they may need to lower the price to them. We may have some stuff we can use, and they're going to sit down with me and Trent Bukowski and see what we can do about getting some money savings there as well. Again, the battery replacement's getting ready to start anytime in the elevator as well. So, again, we've been busy. There's been a lot of things been breaking down here in the last month, and we've been busy running around trying to take care of some things. I lost the pneumatic system at the old jail in downtown Kankakee. Thermostats, for some reason in that jail, went out. The ground and first floor, I couldn't get any of the valves to open by air. We started replacing thermostats. We found that we were fixing the problem. We got the jail cooled back down. We went up to about 78 degrees in there. So we got it back down. It's running about 71, 72 again, and we're keeping an eye on it. We're trying to take care of failing equipment, and it's killing us. It's just killing us. We have to consider here, start replacing things. This Unit 8 air handler out here ought to be in the trash can. And we're out here trying to fix it again. So I don't know what to say about this. This failing equipment has to start getting replaced. We got to figure out a way to do this. I mean, we put Band-Aids on these things And you know as good as me what I'm saying here. We get to a point where we're just going to have to go, that's it. It's over on this. I mean, it's very frustrating. I'm coming back to the same thing over and over and over again. So we can't get ahead. We're not getting ahead.
It's gonna become to a point where you're not even gonna get parts for stuff anymore.
Exactly. And here's the problem now. A container of R22 Freon is $1,100. Everything we have is R22. So when something fails, we can't, they're telling me we're not putting R22 in there. You got to switch this over to the new stuff. I mean,
Very expensive.
and everything we have here is Freon, everything. So this is going to get very costly as things continue to break. So
Mr. Tripp,
It's either now or more later.
well, I said it
More
all
later.
along. You pay me now,
More
pay me
later,
later.
way
It's
more
gonna cost
later.
you-
this
Now
isn't
or
getting
more
cheaper.
We just spent $1,050 on a whole bunch of Freon for all of it, for 123. And 22 is
I'm-
gonna become obsolete, and you're gonna have to do it sooner or later. And they do have a replacement for it, however, we still have to convert it.
I am taking off a few days here. I'm going to leave tomorrow, Friday, and Monday. I'm going to try and get out of here and just get out of here. I got to get a brain drain going here because I'm past the point of making sense to people. I'm not being very nice. So I need to get out of here for just a few days. I'm just telling you, I'm taking off for a few days.
You mentioned the number 8 air handler. I have no idea what you're talking about in cost to replace that. I don't know if anybody else here, but maybe Pat or Jim.
Yeah.
What's the cost of replacing an air handler?
Well, when we say air handler, it's the air conditioning condensing unit outside that has an air handler inside that it goes between. And to do a whole system of that, is that a 15 ton?
Yeah.
15 ton, you're probably looking at 35,000 max. You could probably do it for less than that, but by the time you don't know, you've got old equipment, you got to put new rails up, you got air handlers change and all that. It could be between 25 to 35,000. We're doing one at ONU that's 35,000. So
on the issue of air conditioner, I'd like to thank the maintenance department, Brian specifically. Was it about a couple weeks ago, Brian, that happened down there? In the server room, that unit went out, or it's gone out several times, but it was crucial, was during our heat wave, and he got down there and he handled it, which is crucial because it was during the time they were collecting taxes and doing all the other stuff. If he wouldn't have been able to handle to the point he did, I would have been forced to shut down the servers because I can't let them run over a certain thing or they'll do permanent damage to the units, which mean that would have been the worst possible time to do that. So I thanked him at that point. I wanted to let you all know that what he did was above board to do because, I mean, he never let it get below that temperature that we needed to have. I mean, get above that. And before in the past, that has happened and it's been borderline. In fact, I know before you came here a couple of times, I know I've had to replace servers because once it happens, they're never the same again. And things start to go wrong and then data gets corrupted and we can't afford to have that. So he did a great job of getting that going.
Thank you.
and most systems have a backup, but we don't have any backup. I mean, you got big server rooms. Normally, you've got a backup just for that situation because they're only going to go out when you need them. So, but he's done a yeoman's job, and he needs some time off. So, kudos to him and his department. Believe me.
Thank you. I do want to say this as well. We're understaffed in my department. We've been carrying on for 2.5 years with no office secretary. I've since cut back the field superintendent to worker. I have 10 employees. I have another one off again with some health issues. My department's understaffed, and the stress on my department is growing and growing and growing. I continue to ask my guys to do stuff above and beyond, and they're answering the call, but we can't keep up this pace. We just can't keep up the pace. I have no inmate. We're doing all the mowing in the county, trying to keep up with all of that, keeping these buildings running clean. I mean, with the elimination of the state's attorney and the treasurer, it was helpful, but it's not getting any easier here. And with the increase in the inmates, full blown inmates down at the old jail and Jerome Combs Detention Center, I don't see how we can keep working like this. It's too much. And I'm calling out to the Buildings and Grounds Committee to address this issue. I look around and watch new employees walk into other departments. I'm going, come on, somebody's got to help me here. I'm going to need some help in my office. I need at least a part-time girl to give me a hand doing some things in here. I haven't been able to research lower pricing. I'm at a point where I'm having to just buy and pay for what its costs are without having the time to research any of this. I mean, I'm on a dead run most days, and my guys are too. So I'm calling out to this committee to consider getting me some additional staff here. We got to figure out a way to do this, because this cannot continue to operate the way we are. We're starting to fail. So that's all.
Mr. Vickery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that the ICE program is putting an additional strain on our facility. And I think that from a budget point of view, we've got to recognize that there are costs underneath that have to be addressed. It isn't all gravy. And we're bringing some money in the ICE program, but as things accelerate and ramp up, we have to allocate some of that funds to take care of these things. We have increase in costs on insurance. We have increased on cost on many things. So the ICE program isn't a freebie, and I think we've got to make some adjustments. I agree with you, Brian. I think we've got to acknowledge and address. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree, and I think that Brian's department also has not even asked for a raise. They've been going under the same contract for a few years now, and to be overworked and not even have a raise as a thank you, I think that's something that we should think about too. Other departments have had raises, but their department, they're the ones towing the line for everybody else because they haven't asked for a raise. So I agree. I think you need a full-time maintenance person, a part-time office person. So you need to ask for that specifically, and also to a rise in your budget so you can afford some of these repairs. Or we take it out of the contingency fund. Maybe it gets earmarked for Brian for repairs and replacements.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I've met with board members over the last few days, it's been made clear that there is an adjustment in Brian's budget already on tap for an amendment on the budget for this year. And it's a substantial increase to cover the raw costs. It does nothing to address the future costs that he's talking about here about adding people. I will also at least let everybody know that the bargaining unit has asked to start negotiating for that department as well. So that's being addressed in line with every other bargaining unit is up for negotiation right now as well. So some of these things, just as an advisory side of it, they are in motion, they are in play. And to remind people that we still have a hole to dig out of, and we have to run as lean as possible, but that doesn't mean we need to work people into the grave. And I know that's where you're at right now, or at least I would say into a convalescing home, because you do need some time, because I could see it in your face. You're burned, and you've done a lot in the last couple of months. I'm not minimizing the other stuff you did before, but with all the moves and everything else, it's caught up. I will agree that you don't have somebody in your office that we had talked a couple of years ago about sharing somebody between admin and your office to help do those price hunts that we had talked about. So Diane, no, just kidding. She's shaking her head already. But even your processing of your claims and things like that typically you didn't have time for, the scheduling stuff, the entering into facility dude, all of that different stuff. So we have seen an increase in revenue on the administration side. That is covering off some of the increased costs that we've seen on admin with per diems and other things that have increased. I think it's worth a discussion to have for the rest of the year But we've already worked out the budget amendments for next week's meetings, but I don't think that should stop the conversation of what you're talking about. So just real, and we're talking about 10 guys, and you need, obviously you probably need more. The head count out at the facilities out there means more stuff is going to break as more of the facilities getting used, and that's only going to increase. So just to say, it's worth a discussion. I'm hearing it. I think the rest of the board members are hearing it as well.
Thank you.
So,
one other thing I want to bring up is I have these two trucks, and I've mentioned this in the past. I have these two pickup trucks that dual function we use during the summer. In the wintertime, they both are plows. They're both on their last legs. That Chevy I have down there, we can't hardly keep it running. And we've done everything we can do to keep it going. It's on its last leg. So we're going to have to consider a truck of some sort, and I'll try and work something out with the sheriff on this, but we're going to have to get rid of that thing. It's starting to get very costly.
Excuse me, just a comment too. With the workload that Brian's got, and I appreciate what he's done because I've been there where he's at, things are going to start to break, and he may not be able to get to them right away. And somebody may have to wait, and they may get upset. Well, they're going to have to get upset because he can't be 15 different places at once. So we need to understand if people call you and he's got 15 calls out there, he's going to prioritize, like the computer room. It has to be done. If somebody gets a little bit warm, they're going to get a little bit warm. We just cannot continue this pace and have Brian do this and then have expectations of what we've done in the past. It just doesn't work that way, folks. Mr. Chairman.
thank you. With regard to the truck, we talked about this before. I mean, and I understand and appreciate that. Is there any surplus Tahoes that can be converted with a plow? Are those four-wheel?
I asked the other day about that. They said there aren't any they're not four-wheel drives for one thing.
They're not. They're two wheels.
No,
Okay.
totally just two-wheel drives. And they said they really don't believe that any of them are roadworthy enough to be used in that way, because it would be costly, first of all, to get it ready to go, and then on top of it, they're only two-wheel drives.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, you need four.
Mr. Nickery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, again. You know, if you work with the sheriff on this purchasing program, we can get it on that lease, maybe a 4-year lease. That's what we're doing with the police cars. Maybe you can find a similar outlet on that and get us into a plow truck with a plow and set that up on lease payments, and then plug that into your budget for next year and see if we can't work something out like that. I mean,
right.
That's an option.
Right.
I'm not saying that's the way to do it. It's a way to do it.
Okay. And I'll get with the sheriff on this and find out what we need to do, because we're going to have to do something with at least one of them.
That could go into capital development. We could get them here Q4, which is on next year's budget. Does that make sense? So, because we just have to let them know, and the first check has to be cut December. That's about when you start needing it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
The other thing, if you see a maintenance man running around here, give a pat on the back or job well done or something like that to encourage them. It's tough. It's a tough go, guys. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I have.
Anything else for Mr. Gadbois? Besides a big thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, go take some time off. Get out of here.
I'm done with the hugs.
You're done. Get out of here.
I don't need any hugs.
Goodbye.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Wheeler, do you want to address the upgrade on the ADA and stuff for the Attorney General?
Trying to make it short as possible, because it's been a 2.5-3 month process on this. We've been in contact with the AG's office. They reached out to us. You know, we waited obviously for quite a while for them to reach out, and they did, and they came back with some date certain things that they wanted on the courthouse, which shakes me to the core, because that at a time when we don't have any money to do what was perceived as millions of dollars worth of work on the courthouse. So as we talked through this, State's Attorney and I, and Brian Gadbois was part of those conversations as well, it soon became apparent that they were wanting to work with us to achieve the spirit of what the ADA is talking about, is to be able to look for those accommodations and not have to break the bank in order to get that. So fast forward through a lot of iterations, a lot of drawings, a lot of gathering old information together and assessments. I put together a pack. Brian got a lot of the information working with our architect and identifying which would be an ADA courtroom. I work with the chief judge on that. We submitted a proposal, it's about 40 pages long, with a very detailed explanation of what we intend to do to the courthouse to the Attorney General. So we're waiting to hear back, but under that program, it appears that it may not be anywhere nearly as costly as it was assumed before to get some of the stuff taken care of. So once I hear back if the plan was approved, then we look at, how much is this going to cost and where's the money going to come from. But they wanted to see the plan and they weren't going to wait anymore. So behind the scenes, we were devoting a lot of time to putting this together and connecting the dots from what we already had versus what we need to have. So we're in a really good spot here, and to make sure that those accommodations are met, because it's not only the right thing to do, it's a have to do as well. Now, accordingly, we still can't do any renovations or anything like that. Everything we do has to be approved by the Attorney General. So I wanted to at least frame that as if there's some things, I know the circuit clerk wants to come talk about that, and we will talk about that, and I'm very interested in hearing what she has to say. But going into that conversation, realize that anything we do inside of that building has to be fully approved by the Attorney General's office. We're under a strict mandate on that. We have no choice whatsoever. Anything structural, anything that involves construction, they want plans. They want to approve the plans. They want to be here. So we've got to get to A to B. And we can't jump to C before A to B, get A to Z, but we can't skip some of those in the middle. And I would caution us that we need to be very purposeful in how we address this, because we've got something in front of the Attorney General right now that looks like it may be accepted. So there's no promises. They could come back and say this is all wrong and rework everything. But initially it looks like we're moving forward. So I just wanted to give you an update. It's been a longer process. I skipped a lot of the nuts and the bolts, but I feel good about where we're at. So,
thank you. So in light of that, Sandy, if you want to step up here, grab a mic, and in light of what the chairman has said, tell us what your plans are and what we need to do, and we want to listen in light of that. We have to get drawings and all that good kind of stuff going. So if you want to address that, please.
Sure. Good morning. That's why I wanted to come here. What I'm attempting to do, and I keep feeling like I'm spinning my wheels, and I think I need someone that has more knowledge on building a counter or moving a counter. So an architect probably would be involved in them. Because of the ADA, we would need that all approved beforehand. But with the advent of the e-filing, I predict that we will have less foot traffic coming into the office. And so what I would like to do is move my main office into room 208, which is the smaller office of the two offices on the second floor that I have. And I would be able to consolidate the orders of protection and probate, and then all of the rest of the filing together, because most of it will be coming in, of course, through the internet. And we'll be able to help each other. We're shorthanded as well. I had to call someone in off of vacation to come to work because I didn't have enough to cover the courtroom. We shuffled some people around and I still was one short, so I had to call one in. So I'm trying to do that with other departments as well, as try to make more of a one-stop shop, and then we can help each other out more. So that's what I'm asking for, is some kind of some drawings from an architect to see. What I would like to do is take the counter and move it perpendicular to the way it is currently situated. On top of that, it's an extremely tall counter. Even a person that's not in a wheelchair or anything has a hard time. If they're shorter in stature, they can't even hardly see over the counter anyway. It's an extremely tall counter for normal standards anyway. So I would like to have it, of course, lowered and then moved. We would probably have to move out the rolling filing system that I have in that corner as well. But then what my thought is too, that could be the area where we would put the public access computers, like build a counter along the wall and put those up there. And then we would be in close proximity. And then what I want to do in the main office, the big room, is put all of the minute clerks that go to court with the judges, put them all in together so that their supervisor can actually be successful at supervising them. Currently, she has people in 3 offices on 2 floors. And she's busy going to court and doing other things too, so she doesn't often travel to the other offices to see what's going on because she has a lot on her plate too. So I think it would be helpful for her to have everybody, we have 13 of them right now, if they were all in the same room together, and that room could do that without many adjustments. And our main office has decreased as far as staff, and so I think it would all work better if we put the rest of them together in the smaller office.
It looks to me like you're gonna have to get an architect in there
Right.
to do that, but where are the funds gonna come from to that architect? Do you have any funds in any of your budgets to
Well,
do that?
I got my budget numbers the other day from Steve, and some things aren't correct yet. So, and he was going on vacation, and Nicole was on vacation. So he and I have to get together and see what's going on. But I do have some money.
Yeah, somebody there, so you could get a hold of Doug Bright or whoever and then see that. So we'll go down that road. And Mr. Tripp.
You made a statement just about stopped what I was gonna ask. Do we really need a architect? I mean,
we do
some good
because
builders just to move a thing from here to there?
We do because the Attorney General, and we have to have everything approved for that
Alright.
before we do anything, or they'll,
Good
you know, we
point.
could get into some,
Okay.
getting ahead of them, and they would
Okay,
not
good.
approve it, and then they'd come jump on us again. So,
Craftsman out there say you move this to there, that's no big deal.
yeah,
I'll
I
do
know,
it.
but if we're gonna start building counters
I
and
hear
doing
you.
that stuff like that,
Okay.
anything we have to do though, I think the chairman said we really need to be careful.
Okay.
Because we've got a possibility of doing some good stuff here. Ms. Evans.
Pretty much my question as well. I guess I was just questioning what if it was structural. Well, I could understand, but you're saying so there's no local contractor that would have certifications with ADA that could provide the knowledge to do that without going to the money that an architect is going to charge?
Probably not. The AGA, the Attorney General will probably want an architectural stamp drawing of some kind, even if it's a sketch, and that they can put their initials on it. Most of the time, we have to go through the Attorney General. If I'm correct, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I appreciate where you're going with this, and I know what you're trying to achieve. And on the surface and the philosophical level, I would
Yes.
agree and support it. I guess, is this being driven from an e-file perspective, and then you're able to branch this off and to achieve other things? Is that kind of where this is coming from? So on the front end, it's driven by that.
Well, and it's also driven on the fact that we are very short-staffed, and I think if we have more people that are in proximity, you know, right now they're in 2 different rooms, and so when those people are on vacation or sick, the other people, you know, we would have to redirect, like in the probate department, for instance, we would have to redirect the customers to the main office, but the main office people are not trained in what the probate and the orders of protection do. So, you know, and it's hard to cross-train when they're in 2 different rooms. So
Right,
if we could
right.
have them all in the same room together, the cross-training would be a lot more simplified.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask, and it seems to me that since money has been freed up in automation, part of this could be an automation project, is what I'm getting at. So between freeing up money for, you know, salary splits and automation splits between your general fund budget and automation, we might be able to tackle some of these costs, I think, to where it's not going to go towards an increase in general fund spend. You see where I'm going with this? We might be able to tackle this if we think about it inventively. So I think there's a possibility. Now, time frame, that's the other thing. Do you have, you know, we can get drawings together, we can do all of that, but pulling the trigger, you've got a few months before we can.
Well, January 1st is the deadline date for the full-fledged e-filing requirements. I mean, we could make one computer compliant in one of our public areas if it weren't ready right away at January 1st.
Sure.
However, you know, like I said, with us being so shorthanded, it would help if we were all together. So, and I have, my bookkeeper just announced her retirement, and she will be taking the rest of her vacation, and her last day is this Friday, and she will be done off the books in July. So she's a part of that 3 people that help out with the orders of protection and probate. So once I start interviewing for that position, I'm not going to request or require this new person that's trying to learn our bookkeeping system to also cover a counter and try. That'll just be throwing way too much at this person right off the bat. So it's going to be pretty stressful here for quite a few months.
Any other questions for Sandy? Any other questions?
So what do I do next? Do I?
The budgetary expendices come from, you can.
But I mean, do
get
I
your-
call the architect, or what do I do now? Is what I'm getting at.
Well, yeah, you have to at least you can work with them to get the proposal that you want, and then from there, we would have to submit that to the AG whenever that time
Okay.
comes for approval to move forward or changes and things like that. So you can get the ball rolling.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I
as
mean,
long as you figured out the numbers, but I'm glad you brought it here because,
right.
the courthouse is in the possession of the sheriff. We're responsible for paying everything that is regarding structure, but then there's also ways to do that within the constraints of special funds as well. So between all of that,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I came to
yeah.
is to get direction, because I was talking to Brian a couple weeks ago, and he said you need to start with the buildings and grounds and go from there. So,
Talk to Doug, get preliminary together and see. what
okay,
you-
very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sandy, as long as you're here, I'd like to do something that probably is going to have to go before criminal justice. I learned yesterday that the bail reform law that was just signed bail reform bill that was signed into law had a potential impact in terms of revenue that your office is going to receive. And I was wondering if you're going to be able to report on that in terms of the criminal justice, maybe. If you have time to check on some of that before criminal justice, I think that would be useful for them to have that information.
Okay.
I understand that Kane County did a pilot project of this bail reform procedure, and their circuit clerk's revenue declined $200,000. So that may be something that needs to be reported to criminal justice.
Okay. Yeah, I can check with King County and see what they did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, don't forget next month, folks, our meeting is moved up a week and on Thursday. So look at your calendar and make sure you show up on time or you'll be. What is it, July 13th? Yeah, July 13th. Same time, same station, same ballpark, same pew. Any new business? Any new business? Any, you want old business or you? Mr. Legess.
Thursday at 9 o'clock.
Mr. Legess.
I'm just curious how the tax payments went, property taxes downstairs, how did the, with the new setup and everything, did it go all right? Did a lot, every time I was down there, I never saw any lines. I just wondered if people went to the banks instead.
Yeah, I was there the other day. There were 6 people ahead of me and I went down there at 8:30.
I just wondered if more people used the banks this year. It didn't seem like, because I remember they were all the way outside,
Mr. Duvall.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on it. There was quite some times, especially Monday and I believe last Friday, where they backed up to the door, then wrapped back around. But for the most part, it was fluid. And when they got to that point, I think Nick would put somebody else on the line too to help dissipate it, so it got down there. But it would go up to the glass. Majority of the time, it didn't go that big, but it did. At that point, I
Seems to
believe
be
you said
working okay.
on community service, I believe they said that it flowed pretty well.
Yeah,
So.
it seemed to be. Okay. Any new business? Any other business? Motion to adjourn, Mr. Legess, second, Ms. Peters. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned.